calls himself supposed to be CEO, but he calls himself the Chief Everything Officer of A&W Malaysia, Mr. George Ng.
Thanks for inviting.
Can you tell us briefly about your past and present and how you end up with A&W?
I started as a banker when I graduated. Never really wanted to work for people. So 1998, during the financial crisis, I started a restaurant called the Manhattan Fish Market. Many years later, we sold. The latest story acquisition big one is probably A&W, which we bought from KUB. So at that time, there was 34 stores that we bought from KUB. Throughout the pandemic, in the last 5 years, including the pandemic period of 2 years, we have grown to about 100 outlets. 85% of my time is spent in operating and running restaurant. My first part of my career was a short period of a banking career.
But from bank, I think about F&B.
I used to work in Pizza Hut. And that was way before I was in SPM. I think from 5 period, I was working in Pizza Hut. And at that time, Pizza Hut was actually one of the better restaurants. Probably the only restaurant that sells pizza. There's not many Italian restaurants then. So I was thinking, wow, not bad. They serve very nice pizza. But when you go to the kitchen, there is actually no chef. It was all SOP, standard operating procedure. Anybody, like a young boy like me, can actually cook a pizza. So I thought, wow, not bad. One day, if I have enough money, I want to open my own restaurant and don't hire chef, just put SOP.
When you took over A&W, I think there are many challenges in A&W. Can you share how you overcome those challenges?
It's the people. We need to get good people. We have a team of HR people, or we call it people care department, that do hiring every day. Even non-stop hiring. I would say we're still understaffed in a lot of our restaurants. Always have a good culture to retain them, hire the right core value people. Most of the time we cannot get foreign workers. We are not allowed to by the government as well. Two is, I guess, the current inflation rate. A lot of our products are imported. Look at our products like root beer, like French fries. These are all imported from overseas. So our ringgit softening and the inflation rate makes it a bit more expensive. What we call menu engineering, make the combo a bit more value for people, yet we can keep our margin. Fortunately, Malaysia, the currency, I think today is a big topic, even in Parliament, right? That our currency is one of the weakest in the region. In the whole of Asia, our currency is the worst performing after Japan.
But how do you manage to grow from 34, correct me if I'm wrong, where I took over A&W and now 100? We'll be 100 across all Malaysia.
We have 4 stores now in Sabah. So when we took over, we actually didn't have the franchise for Sabah, Sarawak. So we signed to open Sabah and Sarawak 2 years ago. And now we have 4 stores in Sabah. Every year we are trying to grow about 15 to 20 stores. Of course, we have a guidance of how many stores to open, but we don't force ourselves. We have to get the right location. So in Malaysia, there's a lot of malls. So going into malls sometimes is also very competitive. Some malls do well, some malls don't do so well. So our target now is to focus on a bit more drive-through, standalone shops, where we can open even 24 hours.
What are the targets within 5 years, let's say?
Definitely, we want to double the number of stores we have. Yeah, maybe in 5 years we should have about 200 stores.
But talking about when you expand, and we know, F&B is not easy business. How do you maintain the quality of the food?
SOP.
SOP.
Yeah, so I think one of the most important departments just now I told you was the people care department. But people care department, which is our HR, also has another department called training department. And training department is probably one of the key ones. We have to get our people on board. We have to train them well and hopefully retain them. And then it's an ongoing process of training and quality checks to ensure that everybody is doing the right thing all the time.
So when you first wrote this book, what was your intention of writing this book?
Thanks for talking about the book. Yeah. When I started the restaurant business when I was in my 20s, I remember I was in the restaurant all the time and we had only 1 or 2 restaurants. So every day I can hop from 1 to 2 restaurants and talk to the managers, talk to the team. This is what we want to do. This is what we want to expand. This is how you should treat your customers. This is how you should write your SOP and cook your product. But as we expanded, some of the managers, sometimes I don't even see them for months, right? So I thought, okay, how do I continue to engage with all my people? And today we have, in our group, today we have about 5-6 brands with easily we have few hundred managers today in our group, right? Because of the number of restaurants we have. So at that time, I think about 12 years ago, I started to say, okay, I must still engage with my people, all my managers. At least they know what I'm doing. At least day to day, they don't miss me. So I started to write a Friday note. Every Friday, I'll write a note. I'll just put, dear family, this is what I did. This is which restaurant I went to, and I met some of our managers. This is his name, and this is a good practice from him that we can share. We can all share together. I started doing that. So I call it Friday Footprints, because it's instead of FOOT footprints, FOOD footprints, because we are in the food business. And every Friday, I would write, and some of the staff would say, hey, nice, boss, thanks for writing. That was good sharing. And because of that, I was encouraged to do it even more. So every Friday, I never missed it. So you just imagine for 12 times 52 Fridays, there's a lot of Fridays, right? 12 years of so many Fridays, we have thousands of notes. And during the pandemic, I have this bunch of friends who say, hey, George, I also start sending these notes to some of my group friends, not even in my staff, just for sharing. And some of these friends
say, hey George, this is a very good learning, some of this, because we are not in the food business, we don't know all this.
So during the pandemic, they were so free, they said, George, why don't you publish a book? I said, I'm not a publisher, I'm not Adrian, I'm not going to publish a book. Then they said, we will compile everything, we will do it for you, arrange for you everything. You just pay us a bit of money to pay the printer. So that's what we did. So they actually compiled everything. If you look at it, it's quite well curated in a way. They into contents about strategy, about customer service and all that. Out of the thousands of notes, they took 143 notes. This was the first edition, 143 notes. I asked the guy, why 143 notes? He said, to the youngsters, I love you. So, so that's how it happened.
But you wrote it on the fly?
Yeah, so every Friday in the morning, I wake up very early. I just wrote a little note. It's like a letter to your staff. Very simple, very easy to read.
Times of, it's so competitive in F&B, especially with the fast food. How do you plan to make A&W stand out even more?
I think the reason we bought A&W was we know the strength and the weaknesses of A&W. When we studied, our company spent 34 million to buy over from KUB. And the reason we bought was, number one, it was the first fast food in Malaysia. Number two, it had great products. If you look at some of the unique products we have that no other fast food have. The root beer, of course, the waffle, then we have the moza burger and the chicken. A&W, the products is very good. So we found the weaknesses was it was badly operated, badly run. The shops were not refurbished, it was very old. I mean, restaurant, you have to reinvest as time goes by.
What are new menus that you introduced into A&W?
Of course, we have a bit more. We have a wings section, right? Wings, and then we have a new beverage, because for a long time we only sell RB, which is root beer. But today, people who say, I don't want soft drink, what can I have? We have actually a fresh orange juice, and you can also have your orange juice float. Instead of root beer float, you can have an orange juice float. Came out. Of course, we also come out with limited time offers.
How to equate fast food with health food? What's the comment on that?
In US, there is a trend. A lot of fast food are getting healthier, and even in US, A&W has launched the meatless burger. Right? It looks like meat. The Impossible patty. Impossible burger, which is not meat, made from veggie, made from soy, but it tastes almost like meat, and even you can see a little red blood coming out. Ooh. So it almost, yeah. So in US, I think the trend.
But here in Malaysia, I've never heard of anyone come to our fast food restaurant and say, I want to eat healthy.
They at home say they want to eat healthy, but they go out, they don't want to eat healthy. They want to eat tasty. They want to fulfill their cravings, I call it, right? But we are trying to, like I told you, we are trying to change to also make sure that people who come in have a good meal, have a good healthy meal, but tasty, fulfill their cravings. That's why we have the orange juice instead of people who may not want root beer. We are also, one of the things we are doing R&D this year is to reduce the sugar level in our root beer, because all soft drinks have a lot of sugar, and we are the only fast food in Malaysia that actually make our own soft drink. Root beer, we also put a lot of sugar because we manufacture, so I know I buy a lot of sugar to make, but we are trying to come up with a formula that we can use less sugar but yet as tasty.
So the principal in A&W basically is very supportive of what you are doing now.
Yeah. They are very excited. I mean, for a long time, since 1963 when A&W was in Malaysia, and that's 60 over years ago, A&W started in Malaysia. They have never seen 100 shops. Ooh. That means the more shops we open, the more royalty we pay, right? So, so they are very happy with the expansion that we have done.
Share something about your leadership, style, your management style. you grew from 34 to 100, and now you want to double within 5 years. So what is the management style that you are employing now?
I don't have many. I don't think I have any distinct style. A lot of people come and ask me,
What is my management style?
and I say I don't have any style. Then is it
Is your style open door or closed door policy?
right? Closed door means you have a room, very formal, very protocol. Or open door, that means anybody can walk into your room and talk to them. I say I have a no door policy. The first thing I did when I went to A&W was I went to the CEO's room and I saw, wow, it's a huge room, half of this room. They have a sofa, he has a big table. And I said, wow, the CEO of a fast food that's losing money have such a big room. So the first thing I did was to crack the room. When I took over, to crack the room, and everybody sit in cubicle, including me. I was in a cubicle and I put myself at the door, near the cubicle of the door. So everybody who comes in, I can see who is coming in. Right? You cannot hide away from me. Yeah. So everybody who talk, I can hear. Right? But because if a CEO have a room, nobody there to talk. You have to make appointment to see the CEO of A&W.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. But in the restaurant business, we want to keep it open. Don't sweep things under the carpet. A lot of things can go wrong. So you might as well hear all the things and try to see we can come up with improvement plans or not. So that was my policy. I think most people say that I can be a bit hands-on, can be very open. So I go to the restaurant. First person I talk to is not the manager. I want to talk to the staff, the kitchen fella, the cleaner. Because if the cleaner say, wow, this restaurant is well managed, that means it's well managed. If I talk to the manager, he'll tell me, oh yeah, everything is good, sir, right? But if I talk to the cleaner, I talk to the person who is frying, he'll
Tell me, yeah, the manager here are very strict, or the manager here don't care. Every time go out.
So you find more things when you talk to the normal workers. They can tell you more things openly. You can get a feeling talking to them. Yeah?
What's your staff reaction when you tore down the previous CEO and you make it as flat as possible, the organization?
Yeah, for so long KUB was very it's managed by like a civil service. I'm still trying today to break down the culture to say, hey, everybody is equal. Call you boss, So I said, okay, one word we cannot use here is boss. Only the restaurant we can use the word boss, and the boss is the guest paying the money. The guest is the one who is paying your salary, because if they don't come in, you don't get salary. In our business, the most important person is the staff, and then the guest, and then the leadership team. Because if you treat the staff well, the staff will generally, hopefully, treat the customer well. And then if you treat the customer well, they keep coming back, then we get sales and profit. Then the leaders can pay the bonus or incentive. I also hate to, when they say leadership team, when I first went in, asked me to show the new org chart, because new owner take over, right? Can we see your org chart? And I hate to draw those org chart with the CEO on top, then people down there, right? I like to do it on the side, or actually the CEO down there, the shops are the one making money.
That was how you ran Manhattan Fish Market?
Yeah. How all the restaurant brands that I run, I keep it open. Yeah. So today we have many brands, not just A&W, right? We have the Subway, we have A&W, we have coffee called Jamaica Blue. We have bar business, The Barn, another bar business called Arthur Storehouse. And in Singapore, we have ice cream brand called Gelare, Japanese eatery called Omote. Each of the brand is managed by a team of leaders. My job is to interact with them as often as I can, to guide them, to coach them.
But talking about fast food industry, it's a fast-paced industry. It's a high turnover industry. How do you foster the kind of culture for staff to be aligned, for staff to the same mindset with the company?
Staff thing, even among our many restaurants, I can tell you this restaurant has a set of culture. And another restaurant that we hope have this culture doesn't have it, right? So it's not all restaurants have the same culture, I can tell you. And in the office, it's a different culture. So culture is actually made out of people, right? The leadership team, if in this restaurant has a very strong culture, he imbues. So we talk a lot about core value. If your staff have all the right core value, the culture should be strong. But I can tell you it's not perfect. So our core value is very simple. I made it very simple to call it a word that everybody can remember. RIBS, ribs, your bones,
RIBS.
ribs.
Okay.
RIBS. So R is results oriented. I is integrity and openness. B is being better at being better, means you want to improve. Whether you are young or old, you want to improve. And S is service above self. Whether you are a CEO or you are a manager in a restaurant, or whether you are the CFO or CMO, you still go out there and serve, right? We have a culture that nobody sees as I'm the big boss, you don't disturb me, right? I disturb you. we don't have that kind of culture. So every month actually we have what we call a CS. We don't even have a head office. We don't call our head office, we call it support center. So our support center every month, all the HOD, all the managers in the support center must go down to the restaurant, do one shift, run one shift, or go and participate in one shift. They don't know how to run shift actually. Some of this HOD, they talk a lot, but when they go to the restaurant, they cannot run the shift because technically they don't know how to do it. So the manager there will ask the HOD, today you do cleaning table, today you go and fry chicken. So they take a shift. So to understand that, this is how we make money. Right? And also to show to our restaurant people that our head office are ready to serve you if you need help. Inculcate that culture, right?
Not easy.
Yeah, it's not easy. It's an everyday thing. Building culture is a daily routine. Just like hiring good people, retaining good people. It's a daily routine in this business. Every huddle or every meeting we have, we talk about that. We talk about culture, we talk about who's core value, who is practicing core value.
What's your vision and what do you see of the food industry and the fast food industry in the next 5 years?
Fortunately or unfortunately, a lot of industry has changed, but fast food is probably the slowest to change. Number one is people do eat every day, 3 meals a day, and they are comfortable the way they eat. Industry has not moved as much as other industry like tech or like handphone or like, or even music industry has changed a lot because of technology, right? People use Spotify, no more CD. Even the way you watch movies today is very different. No more VHS, no more CD-ROM, no more VCD. Today is all Netflix.
Streaming.
Even Astro is passé already, right? Even today, TV box is also passé already. So, but in the food industry, what we are trying to move ahead is also to solve our human resource problem is to technologize some of the things we can. Number one, make people use the app to order. So we have an app and we are trying to improve the app a lot so that we can make at least 20-30% of people use app instead of coming to our cashier to order, right? Number two is we have also implemented in about 10% of our stores self-order kiosks. And you see this in a lot of fast food happening now. In the fast food business, we train our people to upsell. There's only 3 ways to increase sales, like I always tell my guys in fast food business, right? Number one is to get new customers. That means people who used to eat in that old man chicken come and eat in our place, right? Number two is make your customers buy more. If they plan to just come in, buy 2 pieces of chicken, maybe you can ask them to buy some sides, maybe upgrade their root beer to a root beer float with 2 scoops of ice cream instead of 1 scoop of ice cream. So this is upsizing. Or make them buy a bit more. Number 3 is make them come more regularly. If they come every Friday, can you make them come every Friday and Sunday? Right? Then you double your sales. So there's only 3 ways. And the number 2 way is we always train our staff, upsell, upsell, upsell. But when you see a line of people, just imagine 5-6 people in front of your line, your staff also panic. You think you're there to upsell some more? People are already waiting down there. You just say, okay, finish this order, go, finish this order, go. Right. But self-order kiosks will never fail you. So after we change a few of our restaurants to using the self-order kiosks, we find out that 8-9% increase average basket size. So these are the technology. Of course, in the back end, in the back of house, we are also trying to make things simpler. For example, making waffle a bit tedious. So can we get a machine that, just press one button, the waffle fly out? The waffle can be quite tedious. You have to take the flour, you put then you have to turn the waffle maker 3 minutes, while people waiting there. And we have to make fresh some more. Yeah. So these are some of the technology that we are looking at to the QSR.
Talk about NWM, right? So do you know how many percent of customers?
Currently, we just launched it, I think last year, maybe last year. So today, maybe about 5-6%.
What's the target?
30-40% if we can. Yeah. Of course, we find some shops in urban center very high usage, but those in the smaller towns with the makcik-pakcik, they are not so comfortable using the app. So we try to have to teach people. I think there's a lot of education. And today, there's so many apps around that people don't also want to download too many apps. So you have to convince them, you have to persuade them. So these are the things we are trying to improve.
Long and illustrious career. What are the best advice you receive and the worst advice you receive? One
of the best advice I ever received is be nice on your way up because you never know who you're going to meet on your way down. That was told by an old friend. He said, no matter how good, you're very successful, no matter how good, be nice and kind because One day you go down, you don't know who you're gonna meet. You might meet the same people, right?
Word is more.
Yeah. So I'm actually happy talking to people, even the youngsters who sometimes they own 1 or 2 restaurants. They come to me because they bought the book and then they say, George, can I meet you for coffee? I just want to learn something. Or I don't know, get your advice. And I say, okay, sure, come. I'm in the bar. Or I'm in a Starbucks for a while. You can come you can chit chat lah. Right, so I think that's important I would like to give some advice to the people who listens to this channel. I think every time people ask me, wow, my father say give me $500,000, I can open a cafe. I say think about it properly, because opening a cafe, a lot of people like the flamboyant part of opening a cafe, like wow, now I got my own restaurant, I can invite friends. But if you open one cafe, do you know it's a 24-hour job? Because after the cafe close, you become the accountant, you become the inventory stockist, you become the purchaser, you become the cashier, bank in money, right? So you don't think it's just 12 hours of nice, entertain, cook for people, but a lot of the job. Because one restaurant, you cannot afford a lot of things. You cannot afford a marketing person, you cannot afford a purchaser, you cannot afford a person to run to the bank for you. So a lot of things you can't afford because you only own one. If you want to start a restaurant, you actually have to, I would say you actually have to plan to scale up. If not, it's very, very difficult.
How do you overcome the hurdle of, you start with one, and you're scaling up to a few more?
Yeah, so you have to actually plan from the beginning. Do you have funding or partners that can bring you to a scale? Don't just plan for one, because the one, even if it makes money, it will overwhelm you. You'll become so tired, then you'll say give up. And I have many, many friends who own one restaurant, and the restaurant is not doing bad, it's doing okay. They can earn maybe 5,000 to 7,000, but it overwhelms you. It makes you so tired, and then you're saying, damn, I work for somebody, I can earn that much, why must I suffer like that, right? For the youngsters who want to own one, don't own one, own many. If you want to own one, don't open one.
And coming to reverse advice, a few?
I was working in a bank with a very comfortable pay in Singapore, my last job in the bank. And I asked my parents, I'm going to sacrifice all this, come back, open restaurant. And fortunately, although my parents did tell me earlier that, working in the bank is very good. It's like, those days they say it's like iron rice bowl, right? Yeah. But at the age of 28, I decided to come out, and my parents were supportive. They said, okay, yeah, I think I do what you like to do. It's your own journey. So I did, and I think today, okay lah. I think coming out from that. So yeah, I had friends. When I wanted to open my first restaurant, I actually gathered 10 friends because I didn't have capital. I gathered 10 to 12 people to talk to say, hey, you each invest a bit lah, right? I can tell you 9 of them walk off. Only one say, okay, I'll partner you and invest a bit. My first restaurant was the fish and chips, right? The Manhattan Fish Market. So they say,
Malaysia, where got people eat fried fish one? We all go Chinese restaurant, eat steamed fish one.
Right? That was, in a way, that was bad advice, I say, because when we did the fried fish, Manhattan Fish Market and fish and chips, a lot of people came. Yeah, we created a brand from nothing.
But since you talk about fried fish, what was the vision of having a fried fish?
The Kuala always fish and chips, very popular,
okay.
Right? So that was where we saw there was a market. Yeah.
But that's really Ang Mo style.
Yeah, that's why we do the Ang Mo style Manhattan Fish Market.
Do you concern about Malaysian market would not be able to accept these frozen fish and fried fish?
So that was the advice I got. Are you sure people want to eat frozen fish? Yeah. Chinese all eat fresh fish one. Where got eat frozen fish one? Some more you use catfish, don't know good fish. So that was the advice. But we took it that we have a big market. And today I realized that, no offense to the Chinese, but today I realized that in Malaysia, the big market is not the Chinese, right? 20, 30 years ago, I would say that my parents would tell me, if you do a product, you go to the Chinese, because the Chinese are the ones that can afford to buy. But the other races may not be able to buy. But today, if you do a food business, probably you want to attack the other market, the 80%. The Chinese, number one, their family getting smaller and smaller, shrinking. 2 Chinese have 1 kid. So in 10 years' time, no more Chinese. In a few more decades, no more Chinese. So and the Malays and the Indians are the ones that have more, more kids and eat more and all that. So it's very important to, I think, to the demographics, to understand the demographics here. So if you look, what is the biggest Chinese restaurant that serves only Chinese? That means non-halal.
Which one?
What is the biggest? I mean, you may have maybe, I don't know, some Chinese chain overseas or whatever, but usually they have 10, 15, even 20 outlets, very good already. If you have 20 outlets serving just Chinese without other races, very good. But if you look at the other markets, the whole market, KFC 800 outlets, McDonald's 400 outlets, Nando's 100 outlets,
100.
right? So these are if you look at the big restaurant chains, they have to serve all the races.
Right. If you go back to your younger self, what is the advice that you would like to give to your younger self?
It's a journey. I think building a business is a journey. Enjoy that journey. There will always be up and down. It's not going to be a smooth sailing like that. We have had up and down, up and down. One of the most important thing if you have integrity, I think eventually you will succeed, right? Don't let in business. It is very easy to be succumb to weaknesses. Yeah, succumb, especially in Malaysia. For example, people ask you, why don't you sell something, like our bar business. People say, why don't you sell this one? I never pay tax one. You buy from me, no need to, the beer, the contraband stuff. But I'll never allow all these kind of things to happen, right? Because if you allow, just imagine what your staff will think, right? If you allow bad things to happen, your staff will also know that you are not integrity. Then he will also cheat on you, right? So I think integrity, especially when you're dealing with so many human beings in your business, integrity is a very important approach. Whether they see it or they don't see it, you must be honest and have strong integrity. I think that's one advice I would give to the young people.
But you have so many brands under your umbrella, all right? So how do you make the time to meet and see and understand them?
Each of the brand we have a leader, so they are responsible. So actually I don't really instruct or give direction so much. Only maybe yearly I would do a strategy session with them, and then on a monthly basis I do what I call a scorecard session with them to look at the results and what we must do to improve the results. I think more of coaching and mentoring today my role. I don't really go to a restaurant and run it. As I grow more and more restaurant, I find that my job is now more internal than external. That means I actually speak to a lot of my own leaders. I don't meet suppliers. I don't even meet landlords. Occasionally I will meet some of the top landlords, but all these are done by our people. I would only meet my internal people and coach them and strengthen them. So I think that's the most important thing I should do.
Okay. Now we have so many young people over here. Any good advice and knock on their head to the young generation?
Continue to work in Kanyin. No need to open a restaurant. Yeah.
Kanyin is not a sexy industry, so F&B is more sexy.
That's what you think. If you are in it, you won't think it's sexy.
Because a lot of people thought that F&B is fast moving. You're just more sexy than publishing, definitely. What's the take on that?
Yeah, I know. A lot of people think, running a restaurant, owning a bar, they think, wow, George, you're very lucky. You have this barn, every night can go there and drink wine, and you have all these nice workers working for you, But it's not as sexy as you think, there's a lot of discipline needed, a lot of training. Sometimes a lot of you want to knock their head, right? A lot of.
Clear. So moving forward for the entire F&B industry in Southeast Asia, what do you take on that?
Just now you asked, people are eating healthier, but I think people are going for more sophistication today in the dining industry. In the early days when we go out, we are just trying to fill our stomach, right? But today, Malaysia is very different 20 years after, after. You look at today, so many omakase we have. People are willing to pay 500 to 1,000 per pax to go super dining. Those days when I was young, if I bring a girl to A&W, that's dating already. And today, still a lot of old people come and tell me that, my first date was in A&W PJ, right? But
PJ,
today, if you bring your date to A&W PJ, your girlfriend or boyfriend will slap you, right? So it's a very different world. Today, wow, your girlfriend will expect you to bring them to a nice steakhouse. Not only good steak, but the way they showcase, the way they, or omakase, chef inspired. So I think the dining is becoming sophisticated, more and more sophisticated. But no, there is in the chain of restaurant, there's a pyramid. people in the bottom there, people who are willing to pay under 20. Fast food, nasi kandar, mamak shop. Then you go up, people who are willing to pay up to $50 to $60, casual dining. As you go up, full service dining, people who are willing to pay $100. And then you go up, premium fine dining, people who are willing to pay more than $300, right? But as you go up the pyramid, of course, it's a smaller market lah. So I'm playing at that big mass market. If I increase my menu price to above 20, suddenly sales will drop because wow, so expensive. But if I keep it, there's a mental thing, right, in the head. If I keep it below 20, people continue to, yeah. So, I mean, one of our competitor did something, increased their normal plate to $20 over, and suddenly they see a drop. And then people say, wow, you charging so much for your chicken also smaller size. I don't want to mention the brand, but you probably know. Yeah, so it is, in that mass market is a different market. And you will always have not only the rich people, but the mass market. I like to play in the mass market because it's a huge market. I'd rather sell $1 million $20 meal than $100,000 meal. Because in that fine dining market, it's very small. You're always getting the same clientele. Yeah? And you cannot, I think fine dining, how to scale up. You can't even have more than 3 in KL, right? If you own a fine dining brand.
True.
So we actually prepared something for you.
Oh, wow.
As we heard from you just now, you said that A&W also came out with their own menu, that's the orange float. So we, Kanyin, also came out with a special dish, maybe for you to try.
Wow, okay. So you want me to launch this in A&W, is it?
Could be. Why not?
Okay, let's try. We try together, Adrian. Okay, we try together.
No.
Come. It's your own popcorn chicken with some jam.
What do you call this?
What we call this menu?
It's a popcorn chicken with some
Spicy sauce.
Oh.
If you can guess the sauce, then you're really the master of in the
I know how to.
It's not bad. Not bad.
I'm not a great cook. I know I run so many restaurants. People expect me to be a great cook, but I'm actually not a great cook because I only follow recipe. I am very SOP.
How was it?
Good.
Seafood, how do you think? Seafood, how do you think?
I think it's a bit cold now, but I think if it's hot, it would be 7 out of 10.
Whoa.
This is a very good bar bite for our bar places. People drink beer, you eat some salty chicken, they have to drink more beer. Good idea, thanks.
You want us to review the
Sure. What is it?
They put Thai chili with condensed milk.
Yeah, I thought it looks like condensed milk, right? Yeah.
To wrap up, because I read the book by Josh Ng, how he managed to run the business, did the book. But this book is exclusively available direct from him. So not a bookstore, unfortunately. Hey Josh, thanks a lot. Thanks for having me. Your precious time.
Hey, thanks for having
And
me.
come here, and I know you are in a rush too.
No worries.
But again,
Just in time.
thanks for coming for the Kanyin Openbook podcast.
Awesome. Thank you.
Hey,
No, I'm okay.